I don't think any dude wants his bone gnawed on. You're doing it wrong if you're chewing it.
Annyeonghaseyo, welcome to Afternoona Delight. We're Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
We're all back together.
We are back together. Here we are in our year of our Lord 2023, January 11th to be exact, if you want a spoiler. And we are finally together, and I think it has been it's been a month.
Because
it feels like it's been a really long time.
We took time off for the holidays. We had COVID. Well, you had COVID. And
Megan.
I did, yeah.
Leah is building an ark.
Yes.
And
we are collecting all animals 2 by 2. No room for the unicorns though.
Oh damn.
So I feel like today I had a really fun experience of listening to the pod, because last week, as you acknowledged, I had to dip at the 11th hour, and because we were in a bomb cyclone and just all hell had broken loose. So you held down the fort without me, which I really appreciated. And I got to listen to the pod today as just a regular guest, because I didn't edit this podcast. I went in just like a member of the public. And I just have to say how proud I felt that Megan talked about evacuating her bowels with McDonald's coffee. I literally, we're going to talk about screaming. I don't normally scream. I screamed when I heard that. I was like, did you just say? I was driving and I was like, ah! And
it just shows how comfortable I've gotten.
You really have. You're just
on this podcast, that I'm just I'm just going to talk about how great McDonald's coffee is.
You've got your inside pants on and you're ready to just evacuate. So, big appreciation, to both of you. I wanted to just show you where I'm at, because this was my big, it's almost better now, but this is my big sad story. I don't know if you can see it anymore, but I'm trying to show.
Yes.
I want sympathy.
Please, this is your New Year's Eve, right?
I'm holding up my middle finger to Megan and Amy, because I wanted to talk a little bit about my big boo-boo that happened on New Year's Eve, because I was like, okay, we're going into the new year. 2022 wasn't a bad year for me, but I'm trying to set my intentions. And one of the things, so I came up with my word of the year. And if you've had a word of the year, I would love to hear it. But for me, I chose that my word of the year for 2023 is going to be vital. I took a long time to decide it, days. And I thought,
I love doing words of the year.
Yeah, this is new for me. So shout out to Allison over at Afternoona Army, our resident therapist, literally, and who was like, I've done this for 11 years. And I was like, what a great practice. I'm going to do this. And basically the idea is picking a word that signifies an intention you want to set for the year, and then kind of helps you as your guiding thing. So rather than a resolution, having this word that you can hang multiple things off of. And that really works to how my brain works. And clearly, Megan, your brain, as you're nodding. So, it's more multifaceted. So I went with vital, because I was trying to get at something where I don't feel like I'm beginning a lot of things, but what I'm trying to think of is what's really important to me to focus my time and energy on, and where are the things that I can let go. And also I like the idea of vital, feeling vitality with the health and wellness part of it, but also just that idea of I've got 24 hours in the day. So what is essential for me to be doing, and what are the things that might be cluttering up? And so I was okay, I've chosen my word, and I'm going to be all about focus. One really good way to start 2023 would be to be mindful. So I decided to have, a whole bunch of people over for New Year's Eve. And I'd already come off of hosting Christmas Eve. I'd had guests, many guests. And I was a little bit frazzled, and I got new knives because everyone was saying that my knives weren't sharp. So I bought some new sharp knives. And I had a baguette, and I was like, I'm going to be chopping up my baguette as the guests come so I can set out my fancy cheese board. And I've got heated artichoke dip and heated brie. and we're going to like have just a lovely New Year's night. Was I focused and mindful? No. I think I was talking to someone, looking around like, la, 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 chopping with the knife. Had I already cut my finger severely once that night? Yes, I had. Did I already have a Band-Aid on one finger because I had like cut myself? Mm-hmm.
This is a new part of the story that we did not
know.
No,
Leah.
Yes, my
God.
finger had already received a flesh wound that night. So I was like, bloop, 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 chopping down the baguette. All I know is that like I had this like blinding pain. I looked down just to see this like, and it's like a movie, like a fountain of blood, like a Monty Python sketch of blood, like arc up and splay across the kitchen. I turned around and my friend Coral was standing there, who was an out-of-town guest from Sacramento. We made eye contact, and I was like, oh, I think that's bad. And then the power went out. Because it was raining, because we're in like freaking like, 40 days and 40 nights of rain or whatever. So the power went out right at that moment, which might be good because I actually didn't see the cut. And all I knew was that like I was losing blood quickly, and I started to get like a little bit like, I don't normally get too dizzy or anything, but I was like, ooh, this feels like something bad has happened. Like my body's kind of like, boo. But I've just had all my guests arrive as well. So I'm trying to be like, ho, ho, everyone, get a drink and like grab some food, and don't mind me. I'm just going to go over here to the couch, and I'm going to put some pressure on my finger, and we don't have power. So Nick's like trying to like get some lanterns out. And it was just like a total clusterfuck. My friend Coral, who like I'm calling her out by name because she was cleaning up the blood on her hands and knees. Because I was like, I think I need to just sit down for just a second. It's okay though. And so I'm like trying to make small talk with people, like, hey, good to see you. How's
what do you
it
have
going?
wrapped around your finger at this point?
What's
what
that?
is wrapped around your finger while you're sitting on the couch?
A paper towel that it's like turning rapidly bloody. So I'm like, can someone give me a little more paper towel to like wrap around my finger? So after 45 minutes, I was like, my husband's friend is not an EMT, but he's done like wilderness first aid medicine. Has my husband also done that? Yes, he has. Was he even remotely concerned? No, he was not. So anyway, he's trying to like find lanterns, and he's kind of like moved on with life as I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I'm just bleeding out here on the couch. And so I'm
bleeding out on the couch.
Remember that when I woke up with Bell's palsy, not to call Nick out, but I woke up with half my face collapsed and could have been having a stroke. He was like, can you just go eat something and see if that makes it better? So again,
I forgot.
Breakfast always cures paralysis.
Yeah, I'm leaving him behind in the zombie apocalypse too. But yeah, so anyway, his friend though, who's lovely, he's like, I'll take a look at it. And I'm like, are you going to feel gross by it? He's like, oh no, it's fine. So I like open up. I'm like, I'm actually not going to look at it because I feel like this might be bad and I don't want to like faint on the couch. So I show it to me. And he's like, I'm like, so what do you think? He's like, no, it's bad. I'm like, okay. I'm like, should I look at it? He's like, no, I wouldn't. I was like, okay. And he's like, it's kind of like out of alignment. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, it's not like a neat cut. It's kind of, And I was like, oh God. He's like, you need stitches. And I'm like, it's New Year's fucking Eve. I just had like so many people at my house. I do not have the ability to like deal with this right now. And I was kind of like, well, what happens if I just like wrap my finger back up and tape it up and just like call it good? He's like, maybe if you were like out in like the wilderness, but you're not. And so no, that's not my recommendation. He's like, you could get a really bad infection. All sorts of bad things could happen. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, if I go to the emergency room, like we're also in like RSV and COVID, I'm like, I'm going to be there all night. Like I'm going to like ruin everybody's New Year's. People have like traveled. No, almost everybody who was at my house was out of town. I was like, fuck.
Oh my God.
And so then I was like, wait, my son is over at a friend's house because he wanted to like be with a buddy for New Year's. And I was like, his bestie's dad is a doctor. Like, what if I just like called him up as an asshole on New Year's Eve and was like, do you have any stitches in your house? And normally I would not, I'm too Midwestern. I would never, but I was like so freaking desperate. I was like, I'm doing it. So I called Jared. I'm like, what's going on over there? Like, are they like getting into it?
Are you drinking?
Are they in the activities? Are they having fun? He's like, they've got a visitor over, but they're pretty mellow. I'm like, could you ask like, your friend's dad, like, do they have stitching stuff at the house?
Stitching
oh my God, you asked Jared, ask him?
So the dad gets on the phone. He's like, what did you do? I'm like, well, I kind of like half cut off my finger, I think. And he's like, okay. He's like, look, I don't have stitching stuff here. But he's like, the office is just down the street. He's like, I'll just take you to my office. I'm like, okay. I'm like, look, I'll find someone to drive me down. And he's like, I'm just going to pick you up. And I'm like, okay. So I like get in the car with a magnum of champagne. I'm like, take my champagne. He's like, okay.
Aww.
I just need to like give you something because I feel so bad right now. And we went down and my son was in the car too. And he's like, okay, mom, I got you. Like, he was so cute. He's like,
That's
you know,
sweet.
whatever you need, like, I'm here, whatever. And I was like, wow, like, look at you being like so empathetic. Whereas your dad was like, I think you're fine. So we get down there. He's like assisting the doctor, like opening up like bandage stuff or whatever. And then they get my finger out. And Jared's like, I'm just going to go into the hallway. And I see him walk out to the hallway. And then he just immediately lays down in the doorway. He's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just I'm going to throw up a little bit.
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, it's like having a baby. And the dude like loses it. And like the doctor is just like, Jura, get it together. Come on, bud, get it together. I'm fine. Anyway, I got stitches, and then he numbed it to put the stitches in. I don't know if you've ever had stitches. I hadn't, except for like C-sections where like I was like all numb anyway. And so he gave me like a shot of Novocaine. He's like, okay. He's like, how does this feel? And I was like, oh, I mean, I can feel it in my head, but I was like, I don't want to be an asshole. Like, this is his night too. Like, I don't want to be like, I can't feel it. Can you put it in and sit another 20 minutes? So I'm like, it's fine. So I know what it feels like to have your finger sewn shut now. I was just like, just breathe.
Oh my God.
Doing it.
I'm like crawling.
Just close your
out
eyes
my
and think of
skin.
England.
Like, and this is not the first time I've heard this story, and I'm like crawling out of my skin.
I pretended I was like in the Civil War. I'm like, think of like Gettysburg.
Oh my
So that's your
God.
Battle of
Anyway.
Gettysburg wound.
Yeah.
I mean, that is jank. Not this. I'm not saying this. I'm saying your wound. It's correct. It was like I don't know how you sliced it weird like that.
Well, I think I would just like cut it like not neat. Like it was just kind of like this like
Right.
jagged bread knife. Like
Because you like hacked at it.
No.
Right.
yeah. So if you look at it, it's kind of like in like a loose S shape.
Was it?
I
a
see.
serrated
That's why.
knife?
Yeah. Was it? No. I was using it was a ceramic knife, which I think are sharper than the average knife.
But I mean, it didn't have teeth.
Oh,
Did
wow.
have-
No, it did not
Okay.
have teeth. I don't think I would have hurt myself as bad, honestly, with a serrated knife as this. Oh, I can feel it now.
I mean, I've cut myself with knives a lot, and even the smallest
Yes.
cut hurts so bad because it's just slight. Oh my
So
God.
now
It's-
so I'm getting the stitches out. I've left them in for quite some time. We're at, day 12. So it's looking good. I'm looking at it now. But the problem is that I definitely cut nerves because now the whole top of my finger, I only have like sensation on one little part. And my friends have been like, oh, you need to go see a hand specialist. I'm like, I am not my husband. I don't go see a hand specialist. I was like, what do I need to
You're a little picky.
It's on my non-dominant hand. And I was like, look, I can't feel the pad of my middle finger, but why do I need to? And do I regret that choice now that I have no feeling? No, except it's really weird. Like every time I hold my phone, anytime I do anything, I'm just well aware that there's like no feeling. But I also
Is
feel like I'm
typing
like this
different?
like grizzled. Yeah, everything's different. I notice it the most when I hold
Oh.
my phone because I type with my dominant hand, my left hand, but I'm like holding it and I'll be like, oh, it's weird. Like I have no finger. It feels like my finger just like goes into like a void,
Did I just
Oh, so
learn
weird.
today that you are a lefty?
You never knew I was a lefty?
I did not.
Is anyone else here a lefty?
My son is,
Hmm.
but
I am a lefty, as my
No.
father was, and as my daughter Bronte is.
oh, is she? Oh, see,
Um,
Dane and Bronte meant to be two lefties.
Yeah, so what a good segue. Moving from flesh wounds to matchmaking, because Megan and I talked about matchmaking with our
How about
children.
flesh wounds to showing a lot of flesh?
Yeah.
Which is a lot hotter
Mhm.
than my janky ass scarred finger.
Agree.
We have been so excited to talk about this.
Yeah. So
So
let's get to it.
yeah. So, do y'all remember when Leah and I spent over an hour, one podcast episode, trying to convince Amy to watch Singles Inferno? Well, it worked, kinda, because we're back to talk about season 2 of the Netflix Korean reality dating show, baby. And this time, we do have Amy on board.
Woohoo!
Yay! So first, a quick rundown of Singles Inferno. And just FYI, you do not have to watch season 1 before you watch season 2. Although we do recommend watching both just because they're a lot of fun. But the premise of the show, look, it's not complicated, okay? Single men and women are placed on an island together called Inferno. There are competitions to spend one-on-one time with each other, and if they form a match, they get to go to Paradise, which is a fancy hotel where they mostly eat lots of food and swim in pools. And the only rule is they can't reveal ages and occupations unless they are in Paradise with each other. So, yeah, it's fun. The singles are hot, and we can't wait to get into all of the drama of this season.
All right, so we're going to get into the non-spoiler section first. So those of you who know, you know. If you're new to this, you just found us for this episode, welcome. Sorry if I grossed you out about my finger. But what we were going to try to do is just talk about the drama first with like some non-spoilers. And so, if you're trying to decide, hey, do I want to watch a dating show? We're going to try to like make the case for it a bit. And then we're going to clearly signal when we're moving to the spoiler section. Sounds good?
Sounds like a plan.
Yes.
Okay. So first, I just had this question because I thought that Inferno, the island, and the Hotel of Paradise were both compelling settings. And I wondered, where are they in South Korea? And could you visit them? Like when we go on our long planned and dreamed of trip to South Korea, like could we just head out for a day of fun in the sun and then, end up eating delicious room service in a fancy hotel? The answer to both is yes, we could. So Netflix has confirmed that the island is, and I do apologize for my pronunciation, Sasungbongdo, which is off the coast of Incheon. And this is a very beautiful, uninhabited island that has been the backdrop for other Korean shows like the variety shows 2 Days and One Night and Running Man. And the island, with all of its sandy beaches, is a spot where you can take a day trip or do overnight camping. And you don't have to be all like Gilligan's Island to get out to this island. All you need to do is jump on a ferry, not a cruise, Megan, just a ferry from Incheon Port Authority. And it's like $32 US dollars. You also have to pay about $8 to get onto the island, and they use that money to pay for water, toilets, and maintenance. So this is not a pricey day getaway, and while you're there, you can swim, you can fish, and you can apparently go clam digging. Also watch sunset views, bring your own Polaroid camera for Insta-worthy moments, and hey, why not chicken fight and mud pit wrestle while you're at it? And then
they did have really, really beautiful sunset views.
And then if you have a taste for the finer things in life, you can also visit Paradise for a price. So Paradise is actually Paradise City Hotel, also in the Incheon area, right near the airport, actually. It recently featured a video that was made by BTS's Taehyung and Jungkook, where they danced to the song Run BTS together by the pool in the wee dawn hours after Jungkook returned from his solo performance at the World Cup in Qatar. So, according to workers, the pool villa prices clock in at a cool $18,000 a night USD. And
holy jeez.
I know.
Oh, man.
Used by celebrities and influencers. But, if you want to just experience like the vibe of Paradise, most rooms are only going to set you back about $640 US dollars a night, which is still good.
That's not
a change, but not destroying your entire retirement.
We can all share a bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Room for one, please.
So, Amy, what made you decide to watch Singles Inferno 2?
So what I thought was really funny is that when I started watching Love is for Suckers, and I was just, doing my background checks on the actors like I always do, and I was like, oh, Lee Da-hee is one of the hosts of Singles Inferno. And I like threw that at you guys. You're both like, oh my God, she is. And so that kind of got me into thinking, okay, wouldn't it be fun to do like a sort of comparison of the two? You know, if we really love Love is for Suckers and we really love Singles Inferno, but Love is for Suckers sucked. Singles Inferno did not. But yeah, so that's what got me like really interested. I was like, well, I'm going to at least like try out episode 1. And I was hooked after the first episode and I loved all 10. It was a lot of fun.
So Megan, which season did you like more?
So season 1 was very entertaining, obviously. But I think season 2, like the cast just kind of went above and beyond. The drama and the emotions were heightened. And I don't know if it was, like we kind of talked about this a little bit off pod, but just the hosts seemed to be more invested this season, which I think like bled into like my viewer experience. And I don't know, just everything about this season felt like a K-drama on an island. You had second male leads, you had dark horses, you had villains, the host cried, and I don't know. But then maybe I'll say that every season. Do you know what I mean? Because this one's what's fresh in my mind. So to me, I'm like more invested in like this cast, but I don't know. I do think this show has the potential to get better every season.
Yeah, I mean, for me, season 2 as well. And look, I enjoyed season 1, but I thought the cast here felt more interesting for a couple of reasons. One is that no dude revealed himself to be the CEO of himself, which was a refreshing change. Because, you know,
maybe just one woman.
Yeah, just one woman. Because in season 1, most folks were CEOs of themselves. Basically, they were small business owners of some sort of usually influencer type of or nutritional enterprise. And they'd be like, you know, CEO so-and-so. And you're like, oh, but it's like literally just them. Like, I'm the CEO of my living room. I also felt like I was more invested in the relationships here by the end. And at the conclusion, like we'll get into this in the final episode, but in the end, I was moved with actual human emotions. So no shade on season 1, which was a lot of fun, but I was more invested in these folks, from Hanbin, who I thought was the biggest ray of human sunshine since someone like J-Hope in BTS.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Like he was just so happy and
loved Hanbin.
And then Sejong and Nadine, who were just honestly too cool for any other dude there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I appreciated that they kind of had like hapless villains with Dongwoo and Minsu. They weren't really villains. They just were like unlikable.
Right. Like you had no empathy for them.
But then it gave you someone to root against a little bit, and that's like fun. That's what you want to do. You want to root for and against.
Yeah. And we also got the most intense mud pit wrestle scene ever, as well as really direct questions by the last episode.
Yeah.
Like there was so much politeness and friendliness. Because one thing with Singles Inferno that, you know, we have talked about in Singles Inferno 1 is, unlike like most American dating shows like Megan's fave, Flava of Love, the cats physically fight each other.
They do. They like spit on each other. It's crazy.
So in this, they did end up kind of fighting by the, like in the mud pit, it went from like, haha, this is like a game to like, oh shit, like this is some shit. Plus, we got really direct questions that were like much more, like usually you give folks like, they're all kind of like skirting the issue. So like once it got real direct, it felt like it got a little bit more real. And I was already a fan of the hosts going in. By the end, can I just say that KyuHyun, who is also from Super Junior, honestly, he has my whole fucking heart. Like, I think he has my whole circulatory system. And I thought that Han-hae and Hong Jin-kyung were great, but Lee Da-hee and KyuHyun, they just had like so many feelings that made me feel like less of a crazy person.
Like they were feeling with their whole bodies. They were reacting
were.
with their whole bodies to
Ida He would like, she would like throw up her hands, she would like twist in her seat, she would be like physically uncomfortable, she would cry. Yes. She was like right there with us.
And those two, I mean, I liked all the hosts, but the other two that I named, like, they were played it a little cooler, whereas Ida He and KyuHyun had no chill. And honestly, out of anyone I'd date in Singles Inferno, it would be those two. Like, I was like in love with both of them.
Oh my gosh, they were wonderful.
Yeah. But I do have like one little suggestion that, you know, I hope the folks at Singles Inferno, like production company, are listening to. And I want like them to think about casting folks who might have better chemistry. Like, this felt okay, but overall the females were far superior. And also, like, why did we have 3 women who ended up being students? Like, they're all really smart and talented, but it'd be kind of nice to have seen like slightly older and more established, especially women, because I'm just kind of curious on how the dynamics would have played out there. And having a few babies overall is fine, but it also seems odd that there were no male students and then 3 female students.
Yeah. So I actually was watching a video from the producers. They were talking a little bit about how they, especially the first season, they had a really hard time casting people because Koreans thought the show was going to be like Netflix's Too Hot to Handle, which is like incredibly racy. And they had to be like, well, no, obviously we're appealing to the general Korean public and it's not going to be like that. But I guess, you know, that's a hard sell. So I see that, you know, there's obviously rigorous casting decisions as well. So I get that it's hard, but same, like, I really wanted some women that were a little bit more established in their career, and also just like, can't, you know, is it wrong? I wanted adulting adults with jobs. Like, I actually don't really love having students just because I just think that's hard to date anyway, like, seriously. You know, why can't we get like a divorced dad or like a single mom? Like, I realize that I know that that's a tough sell, maybe with the
right there though for its own dating show, like single.
Oh my
parents,
god,
a single parents dating show. Come on.
Oh my god, I would just love it. I would just love it. Yeah, and you know, I want to see like a Yoon Suri. Like, give me like a 38-year-old woman who's like, all right, I'm ready to date now after conquering the world. I don't know.
And somebody who's like a CEO of not themselves, but yeah, like an empire, or a female doctor. Like, where was like, you know, and I mean, like, no shade to like any Harvard med school, which we'll get into in a little bit, like obviously incredibly impressive and like fantastic, right. But like having people that were like, I'm in my early 30s and I'm a doctor.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to look at the chemistry as a whole, and maybe, you know, that will come if they keep with the seasons, because more people might be willing to do it now. I mean, I get that like not everyone's willing to like be on a reality show, but I just feel like this one is, it's not like, it's very tame. They're getting to know each other. It's pretty wholesome. Like, come on, people, get on the show. I
will say, and we'll get into this in the spoiler section too, I bought romance in this one that I did not like. I really like was like, there's possibly one romance in the first one that I was like, meh, might be true, but the rest I was kind of like, meh, I don't believe it. Whereas in this, I was like, I bought for sure one, and possibly like 2, and maybe even like, you know, like the third one. We'll get into it, but yeah,
maybe the third.
Yeah, I mean, probably not, but like, yeah. All right. So, first impressions from episode 1 of any of the cast you want to talk about. When we're saying first impressions, like, first let's set the stage of how they do the first impressions, which is they all come down these like steps that look kind of hard to walk down. And you have to think like how awkward this must feel. Like, and I was like, did they not see each other before and they have to pretend? Like, they must be having to kind of pretend. Like, they must have seen each other back there.
Right. Like, do they have them all like secluded?
I don't know, because they really make it see. I don't know. I don't think all of them are good enough actors.
Yeah.
I actually do think that these are first impressions. I could be wrong, but their reactions seem very genuine, and they're not actors.
I do too, especially like when they get to the end, like when Leah was talking about the like hard questions that came at the end, and there were some questions asked about first impressions, and some people had some really strong first impressions of people that they never talked to the rest of the show. So I do think that it was pretty genuine.
And also, it was so awkward.
It was very awkward.
Like,
they just had to
not
sit.
scripted awkward. They were so awkward. Like it was clear they had not spent time together.
They just had to sit down.
And that's my favorite part.
Yeah, and be like, hey, what's up?
I forgot how good that awkward first meeting was, because I remember that from episode or from the first season. It was fantastic, and I felt like this was even more awkward, especially when Nadine didn't know Dongwoo was talking to her.
Yeah,
she ignores him. Oh god, I love that girl.
And the walk is so long, down to the fire pit,
so long
from the hill. It's so long,
long.
That they know that a camera's on them the whole time too, and you have to act like there's no camera on you and just kind of walk.
I would fall. 100% I would fall. So look, here's the deal. As soon as Park Sejong walked down those stairs in that tight yellow dress, with that hair, I was like, oh man, her box is going to be so full. And I don't mean it in a dirty way. I mean her mailbox. I mean her mailbox where they put the notes in. But look, I was
I'm 12 years old.
When I wrote her box was full and made myself laugh. Oh god. Anyway, I was wrong. Instead, they just used her for B-roll fodder when she was all oiled up in a bikini with her cheeks out. I mean, she is hot. With a capital HOT.
You just made me think of the thing that the big paradox there is everybody's sitting under a parasol, and then there's her and Dongwoo loading up the Tropicana oil.
Yeah, exactly. She's just
Tropicana? Is that what it is? No, that's orange juice. What is it? Hawaiian Tropics.
Hawaiian Tropics.
They're not rubbing orange juice on each other. They're
Yeah, it was so funny because you got Suki who's in her little parasol and she's covered in a big towel, and then you have Park Sejong who's I'm just getting my cheeks out. I mean, she was so hot, and I thought she was gonna. We'll get to it. But I thought she was gonna be the one woman to beat, but I am obviously looking at this from my Western beauty standard lens, which is not the Korean beauty standard lens. Yeah, and I don't know, the guys, I remember all the guys kind of walked down and I was like,
yeah,
I don't know. First impressions, physically, I wasn't really into any of them, but I don't know. I always look. I think I was really hung up on Park Sejong. I was like, she's great.
Yeah, she was beautiful, but for me, as far as first impressions, the way I took the question was not just from the walk down, but it was just from the whole first episode. And the person who really stood out to me of the guys in the first episode was Han Bin. He was so outgoing. He took charge of the meal. He was happy and open and so sweet to everybody. And I was like, this guy is a total winner. And as far as the women, the impressions that I got were from their first sort of confessionals. And I really liked both Nadine and so on. They were just super strong personalities and not afraid to be this is how I am. I'm not cute, stuff like that. And I really liked both of them a lot. And they both kind of maintained being my favorites throughout the entire series.
Yeah, I liked them too.
Yeah, and for me, let's see here. Okay, so Jin Young was one of the things that I liked about season 2 is we had some late additions, but they weren't so late.
He was episode 2. Literally they threw him in the second episode.
So season 1, I feel the late additions were in episode 7.
Yeah, they came way too late.
The one came earlier, maybe 3 or 4, and then 2 came. There were 2 girls that came way late, too late that I was I don't even really know what they're doing here.
Yeah.
So they moved this up better. And look, I'm 43, and I thought that I had grown up and matured. So I had some deep questions with myself on why I was getting hot for red flag Jin Young, who, while good looking and quirky, is a professional gun shooter on the YouTube.
And you didn't know that when you first saw him.
No, but I mean, he's emotionally unavailable. Yeah. I mean, is he mysterious? Yeah, I mean, sure, we can call it that. So these days he is sporting a mullet that is less fetching and better for my sanity. But like, yeah, I was kind of a mess for him and I judge myself. And then for me, I thought that like Sejong, she came out in this like neon yellow green, like bodycon, like cutout dress. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? She is hot as shit. She's got a booty for days. And then she was nice. And so like I would have taken her to paradise and tried to make out.
Same.
And for the rest, I thought like at the beginning, I just wasn't vibing in any of the dudes. So like in the first round of impressions before we got Jin Young, I was like, I'm not vibing on any of them. They're fine, but like none, honestly. Sorry. I mean, it changed over time, but I was like, meh.
No, I was kind of the same way actually.
I think a lot of the female contestants were also like not really vibing, and then Jin Young walks in and they're like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, because the female contestants, I think they were all interesting and cute. And I know that like Suki gets like a little bit less love, but look, honestly, like we'll get into this in the spoiler section. I liked her. Like, yes, she was like the popular girl for like often doing very little, but just looking kind of askance at things. But I liked her. I didn't think she was like a dumb ingenue. No. I thought that
I like Suki. Yeah.
I also chalk that up to editing too, though. Like they're, like the editing is going to tell you a story, and so they really like to show her like just demurring all the time and being shy, but like when she talks, like she has a lot to say. So I think that was just a lot of editing choices too that let us see what we saw.
Like on pure visuals and first impression, I was like the ladies here are like top tier. And I was like, the dudes are coming in on like the B list. I do think I liked many of them by the end much more than I knew their personalities. But as they came in, I was like, meh. Like they're not up to the standard of these ladies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to the spoiler section. But before that, let's do our favorite section of every episode, which is our K-pop rec of the week. And we're going to go with Megan this week, who's got a recommendation from a fun new group that I've been getting into as well.
Yeah, so the song I'm going to recommend this week is OMG, and that is by a group called New Jeans. And look, I've liked New Jeans songs, like I have, but OMG is on a whole nother level of good. To me, it is a perfectly crafted pop song. It is so catchy. It's in my head all the time. The choreography is great. It is so cute. It's a group of 5 girls and they just mesh perfectly. And this is the thing, the group is young, so they're from the same label as BTS, and the group is young. They range in age from like 14 to 18, or they did when they debut.
They're really young. Like
they're very young. But to me, the song feels like how high school girls would like sing, like what they would sing about, because it's kind of like this cute song about a crush, and it just feels age appropriate and fun. And if I was like in high school, like I would totally relate, and I still just love the song anyway, even though I'm like 39. So it's super fun. I really recommend checking it out. And also there's like a whole bunch of different, there's like a music video, there's like 2 different performance music videos, whatever. I just recommend you check it out because the girls have the cutest wardrobe. It's a super fun song, and just prepare for it to be stuck in your head for days. So once again, that is OMG by New Jeans, and jeans as in like denim jeans.
Not new, like
genetics.
GENE.
I think we got it, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
If you enjoy our podcast, you have our patrons to thank, at least in part. Afternoona Delight Patreon allows us to keep creating content for y'all to enjoy. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting us there. And not to brag, but our Patreon community is pretty awesome. And you can join at a tier that feels good to you. Gain access to fun perks like K-drama posts, monthly Patreon-only bonus podcasts, and even a live K-drama support group on Zoom. because we know firsthand what it's like to have no one to talk to about those crazy plot twists, amazing characters, and all those feelings. And look, no one should have to walk that walk alone. So learn more by visiting afternoonadelight.com. That's www.afternoonadelight.com. And hey, while you're on the website, you can check out Afternoona Delight podcast merch, find links to book recommendations, bop along to our K-pop Rex, glow up your skin with K-merch Rex, find all of our social media, and a link to our email so you can send us recommendations or feedback. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you pop over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review? It really helps with our discoverability. 감사합니다.
So what kinds of things do you both like to do when you drive?
Pay attention to the road? Is this a trick question?
All right, how about when you fold laundry?
Why am I folding laundry in this scenario?
Read, friends. I was trying to get you to say read.
You could just ask us if we like to read when we drive, or... Wait, how are you reading when you're driving?
With Audible. You know, our sponsor, who is the leading creator and provider of premium audio storytelling, enriching the lives of millions of listeners every day. I listen to audiobooks on my commute to work, in the car.
Oh yeah, I totally do that. I love my Audible subscription.
Then why'd you leave me hanging with the whole driving thing? Forget it. It's not important. What is important is that now our listeners can get a 30-day free trial of Audible Premium Plus from Afternoona Delight. Do you know what they get with that free trial?
Actually, I do. They get 1 audiobook credit, 2 if they are Prime members, which is good for any premium selection, and they get to keep that audiobook.
They also get the whole Audible Plus catalog of podcasts, like Afternoona Delight, audiobooks, guided wellness, and Audible originals.
And with the Plus catalog, you can listen all you want, no credits needed.
And Audible sends you a reminder email before your trial ends.
Sounds like a great way to spend 30 days to me, especially if you're heading outside for a walk, have a long commute to work, or just want to hear one of many talented narrators really bring your book to life. All you have to do is go to www.audibletrial.com/afternoona to sign up, and you're ready to download your first listen. Enjoy!
All right, so let's get to the moment we've all been waiting for, and that is the spoiler section. Okay, so that's why we're all here, because we want to just talk the shit out of this drama. So first, let's go through a breakdown of the cast. So, Amy, do you want to kick us off with the first couple of folks from this? And we're going to go now to ages and occupations, pretending that we're at paradise and we have all of the guests now.
All right, so we'll start with Shin Sol-ki, who is 25. She's one of our female contestants, and she is a piano major at Seoul National University. She is the center of a love triangle-ish, quadrant, a love square. I don't know. She's the center of it all, basically. And she got the most screen time this season. And she was basically this season's Jia, who I don't know because I did not watch the first season, but I will take your word for it. And then we have Park Sejong, who is 26, a fitness enthusiast and a model. And she was hot, hot, hot. We've talked about the yellow dress in the beginning. Like, she's beautiful. And, you know, we talked about this bit from a Western point of view. We thought that she would be the most popular. But unfortunately, she was the only contestant who never made it to paradise. Honestly, she was too good and sexy for any of the guys, and she knew it.
She did. All right, I'll do a couple here just for fun. So we have Choi Jung-woo, 25, who, you know, I predicted him to be about that age. So our innocent boy was a former soccer player who now works as a barista at his parents' coffee shop that's apparently famous for its super sweet corn coffee. He set his sights on Sulki from the beginning and never let up. Didn't they sit next to each other in First Impressions too? I think, yeah. So from that moment, he popped a boner and never, ever let it go. Then we have Lee So-hee, And she is an acting student who recently had a role in The Glory, which we have not watched except for Megan, who doesn't remember her. So now,
No, I don't think it was a big. I'm thinking it wasn't a big role because that's a pretty big drama. So I'm gonna have to go. She must have been one of like a student in like a flashback or something. I don't know. I gotta figure out her role because now I'm like, oh my god. Because I watched The Glory while I was watching the. So you think I would have recognized her? You know. I don't know.
Anyway. Then we have Jo Yoon Jae, 32, who's a finance manager who made a great first impression on a lot of the ladies. And I'm going to say what Megan wrote here and just say I hard disagree because Megan's a bitch about Jae, and he had what Megan calls a pretty run-of-the-mill romance with and Amy.
Look, I'm not trying.
I want to see where
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't like him because
he's a stockbroker. Like, he's a stockbroker. He's boring. That's what you told me anyway.
I don't have strong feelings about him. I'm sorry. I think I gave you the impression. I actually I think it's fine. Like, I think their love is beautiful and wonderful.
You're a liar. I thought he was boring the whole time.
I don't know why I wrote run of the mill. I am sorry. I honestly don't even remember typing that. I am so sorry.
Beautifully run of the mill.
Which we'll get to. We will get to. And then I'm going to close mine out before I hand it over to Megan with Nadine, also 23, who's a pre-med student at Harvard. She is also too good for any of the guys, and her mix of Korean and English was cute and funny. And I actually looked her up on LinkedIn while we were signing on, like getting ready for the show. And her LinkedIn profile is badass. I mean, like, her parents must be very proud. She went to a pretty prestigious, fancy school, like up north of San Francisco, and she got into Harvard. And I think all of us here watched her YouTube video. She became kind of a YouTube sensation for her acceptance video.
Ugh, good for her.
Yeah, and she was adorable the whole time, like, oh ma.
I love her because she got accepted to a lot of really great schools.
Oh.
Yeah, and basically anyone who, there were a few fools who waitlisted her, one that rejected her, but basically any school that was like anything good accepted her, including Harvard.
So then we have Kim Han Bin, 24. He's an award-winning chef who was the nicest guy on the island, but couldn't seem to get any of the girls interested in him romantically. Look, if you've seen season 1, I just need to say, note to future cast members, the chefs never get the girl. Do not show up and take charge of the cooking. Because it's like, I don't know. It's like the girls just don't go for you then. Because it happened in season 1 too.
Baffled by it.
What?
Baffled
by
that.
Same. I don't disagree. I mean, his knife skills were very sexy. But anyway, he was very funny and so friendly. And to me, he just kind of felt like the heart and glue of the cast. He would talk to people and console them when they were heartbroken. And I just thought he was great. Then we have Shindong.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, wait, sorry. I just wanted to say also, I don't know if you agree, but I thought he kind of looked like Nam Joo Hyuk. Our, Nam Do-san from Startup.
Yeah,
like, they looked like they could have been cousins.
He's just really, he was just shorter, but yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So then we have Shindong Woo, 32. He is a plastic surgeon, and he came on kind of strong with Suki, and he never really seemed to get over...
Creepy. He came out creepy.
Right, I know. Well, I don't know why I was being kind, but he never really seemed to get over, like, her rejection of him. Like, I don't think he's ever been told no in his life, and he was just, like, baffled by it. And then he just kind of proceeded to be, like, a weirdo.
He truly did.
And he's, like, a decade older than her.
Yeah.
Which is fine, except that she's still in college. And he's, a 30-something plastic surgeon. Like, that's very different places in life.
Then we have Chow Choi Salwon, 28. She is an artist or a painter, which I loved that they had like a painter. And I thought her art was also really awesome.
I have a couple of fun facts about her that I wanted to talk about.
Well, I was just gonna say she's I'll just finish. I thought she was really sweet. I thought she formed a really nice friendship with a lot of the girls, and she was the one who had formed a pretty quick romance with Jo Young Jae.
I was going to talk over you because you didn't give her proper respect, so I was just like, whatever, Megan.
What? What do you mean?
You give her respect as a person, but not in her romance.
Oh, yeah, I thought she was cool. I just thought the romance was great. There's nothing wrong. I feel like you're making an issue where there isn't. I thought everything was fine.
You have a prejudice against stockbrokers.
Maybe. As soon as he was like writing numbers on the board, I was like half asleep. Like I was like, this is.
So she went to the U.S. by herself at the age of 14. I did some background because I really liked her too. And she, so first she moved alone at 14, which is amazing.
What?
And she graduated from Pratt Institute School of Art in Brooklyn. So a good art.
Yeah.
And then when she came back, she's been painting, but she also is a pageant person, which is interesting. So she has been Miss Seoul, and in 2021 she was also Miss Korea.
Oh my god!
Wow,
I did love her. I thought she was really cute and smart. She seemed like she would be like a great conversationalist. Like I would sit and talk with her for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly,
and she's the one that does all the paddle boarding too, and can do like crazy deals on her paddleboard.
Okay, so then that's like the original cast. Essentially, that was like the first day. And then they brought in Kim Jim Young, and he's 28, and he is, I would say, like, was kind of like the dark horse of the cast. He came in like episode 2, and he really shook things up. So he's a former soldier for the Korean Navy Special Forces. So he said he was in UDT. They kept mentioning that. So I did look it up, and it is UDT stands for Underwater Demolition Team.
Oh wow!
So yeah, they're like they're respected. They're like a special forces of the Koreans. So good for him. Good for him. And now he's a YouTuber. And
a gun who shoots he's a YouTuber for shooting.
Yeah,
guns.
he kind of does like military content. I don't know. Like I'm not fully sure. I saw him on like other YouTubers who do Korean military content. So yeah.
Is that how like the Korean military trains you? Just like, go watch some YouTube videos.
I don't know. Well, no, I think they do
I'm like what's the market for that?
I don't know. They do like challenges. I don't know really because it's obviously not. I'm not the target like demo.
You're not the target demographic.
No. I thought he was really charismatic and he set his sights on Sulki early, yet he kind of always remained like a little out of reach of her, a little too cool for school. Like he didn't want to commit,
Yeah, super aloof.
Yeah. Okay, then we have Kim Sejun, 27, and so what's interesting is he works for season 1's Ojin Tech as a garment cutter at Jintae's store called Ass Cottage, which I just saw like a reel on Instagram, and it's like all the employees of Ass Cottage, or I don't know if I feel like I'm saying it
I was
weird.
like, is that really how they? I mean, I know it's Ascot, and it's like combining Ascot and
Cottage.
But like Ascot.
I feel like it's more like Ass Cottage, maybe Ass Cottage,
or like give it like a little like French twist, like Ascotage.
Ascotage. I don't know because I feel
Ascottage sounds terrible.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. It's fun.
Ass Cottage.
Ass Cottage. I'm sure it's not how you say it. But anyway, it was like all the employees, and you can see Sejun is there with Jin Tech, and then it was funny because the comments were like, "Oh well, which one's going to be on season 3?" So look, I thought he was very funny. And he also didn't have like any qualms about being filmed with like pimple patches on his face. So like that's confidence. He also liked naps. And then we have
With
Lim
everybody
Min.
watching him napping.
Yeah. Then we have Lim Min-soo, 26, who is the CEO of her online clothing store and a model, although I'm pretty sure she's just a model for her own online clothing store.
I think so too.
I don't mean to be mean, Min-soo. She arrived late, and she really only had eyes for Jin Young, but she couldn't really, like, take a hint that he wasn't interested. And unfortunately, like, I'm sorry, she was a bit of a snooze. She just... If you're gonna bring in... This is the thing. If you're gonna bring in someone late, I think it needs to be someone like Jin Young. Someone who's, like, really going to make a presence. You know what I think they should have done? I think they should have brought in Park Se-jong late.
Late, yeah.
I think if they brought her in late, things would have been totally different. And I think she really would have stirred things up. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's the cast. So let's get into it. We're just gonna get right to, like, the main storyline of the season, okay? So just like the first season, a newcomer appeared after the initial cast was introduced in episode 1, and this time, as we said, he shook up the cast. We're talking about none other than YouTuber and former soldier Kim Jin Young. His introduction created the love triangle that was sort of the main story of the season between him, Choi Jong-woo, and Shin Sul-ki. And I know, I didn't even mention Dong-woo, because to me, he wasn't even on the playing field, but I guess he thought he was.
Yeah.
So let's get this out of the way. Were you team Jin Young or Jung-woo? What did you think about her final choice?
So yeah, that was, I said Megan love triangle.
I know.
What about Dong-woo?
I'm so mean, I didn't even count him in.
Who decided to be this season's Si-hun and just sort of be there too. So in season 1, I guess, spoiler alert, we had a character who, like, was just, like, never gonna be it.
No.
But was, like, kind of the star of his own show, as we all are.
He was his own main character.
So at the end, when they all had to line up, this dude went with this girl that we were all like, really? Like,
buddy, she's not even considering you.
Like, I don't even think she knows your name, but sure.
So mean. Yeah.
And that's what it felt like when Dong-woo, like, was like, I'm gonna try to talk to her too.
I know, I was like, why?
No one, like, she does, like, come on.
She already told you. Like, she literally already told him, I'm not interested in you. And he's like, I'm gonna keep trying to talk to her. It's like, okay, you do that.
Okay, but here's where I had a pendulum swing.
Mm-hmm.
I had 0 vibes to Jung-woo for most of the series. Like, I kind of thought he was also like the Si-hun, just like this annoying and needy dude. And I didn't find his awkwardness as charming as the host did. Like, was he attentive to Sul-ki, getting her zinc when she was tired and, like, books to read? Yes. But to me, it felt less green flag and more like goober who can't take a hint.
Mm.
But then came the mud pit.
The turning point.
Jung-woo looked like he truly decided this was his Waterloo. Like, I felt like his whole life distilled to this moment. And, like, it was like, look, if he was ever going to get Sul-ki to paradise, his skinny ass needed to stay in that muddy hole.
Oh my god. He looked breakable. Like,
no. And look, I didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off. And when I realized he was going to basically do it or die, I started to find myself, like, cheering for him. I felt like I was, like, you know, like one of those, like, sport romances where I'm, like, on the other team. And then, like, halfway through, I'm like, oh my God, like, the underdogs, like, I kind of am going for you.
yeah.
And so, yeah, he gets it. And then during his date, he was just so overcome to be there with, like, the girl of his loins desire. Like, when he even got into, like, the room and he had to, like, lay on the bed for a second and just, like, take a moment because he was just so overcome.
I know.
But the whole time I felt like he was really vulnerable and open with his emotions.
Yes.
And honestly, not in a way that felt ick. Like, Dong-woo felt like he was, like, showed up like, you want to fuck me, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And Sul-ki was like, actually, no. Whereas, like, he felt like, Jung-woo felt like, I love you as a whole person.
Jung-woo's it's like, can I be in the same room with you? Can I breathe remotely the same air as you? That's all I want.
And I was kind of like, God, it's kind of cute. Like, it's kind of like, I was like, maybe the rich girl pianist who loves a sundress is really a great match for our hipster barista. Like, but I still didn't think he had it on lock at all. Because basically Jin Young played this like mysterious, slightly emotionally unavailable card so well that I felt like I just burned my feminist card and was hot for him. And like I said, I judged myself. And Suki did too. Like Suki was like, I'm hot for this dude. Mm-hmm. But she chose self-respect. Mm-hmm. And I was floored. And I mean it when I say I screamed. Mm-hmm. Like when she said Jungwoo, I screamed at the TV. And when my host boyfriend, KyuHyun, began to cry, I lost my goddamn mind.
I mean,
brilliant.
Seriously.
Brilliant TV.
Like, well done, show editors, as I did not see this coming. And I thought that Suki was going to choose with her vagina. But she chose with her self-respect. And in the end, I felt like she went up like a queen with a dude who's going to treat her as such.
That was a great monologue. Way to go, Leah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so last season, Sehun, who we talked about, he really gave me like a pathetic ick. Like, like I just did not like that dude. And I really thought that Jungwoo was leaning that way, but he did, remain kind of like just out of that ick territory for me. But I was like, oh, he can cross over later, so let's see. And maybe it was because he gave Sulki like room to let her to come to terms with her feelings. I don't know what it was, but I really was all in on Jin Young, winning the like sweet, rich, virginal piano student. But then that scene came where she cried in front of Jongwoo because he had given her a book and showed her a passage to read. Like, are you?
It was poetry.
Poetry. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, talk about a K-drama, And she read it, and she came to him, and she cried, and he was so sweet. And what I liked is he didn't try to tell her how to feel. He did not manipulate her feelings in any way. He sat and he listened, at least the way what they showed us. But he just sat and he just listened to her, and he was just there for her. And when she confessed to him, I wanted to win this competition and I was going to use it on you to take you to paradise. And I love that I like Sulki too. I actually did really like her. Mm-hmm. And I liked that scene because I didn't feel like she was playing with him. She was like, this is how I feel. She was honest with him too. Cause she was like, the passage kind of made me think about something else, but then it did make me think of you. And when he promised her back that he'd win it, no matter what, I mean, I was rooting for him at that point. It was like, and I remember thinking to myself, is this show going to like do him dirty and like show that he promised her he was going to win? But I just wanted him to have a chance. And like, we all know reality TV is scripted, and Jongwoo had all the makings of like the nice guy who finishes last. He like kind of like the green flag second male lead who gets passed up for the passion of the first male lead. Like Amy would know, like, If You Wish Upon Me. Jungwoo was basically like the doctor. And Jin Young was like Ji Chang-wook with his like tattoos and gang fights, But Jongwoo stayed the course, and he fought like a madman in that like death pit, and he won his chance with his dream girl. And I can't deal the dramatic music when they called his name. And he's like breathing heavy, and he's like, I don't know if he's
trying not to cry.
Yeah, he's trying not to cry.
He had his eyes closed.
He's like looking up. Like,
yeah. I mean, it was so emotionally manipulative, and I just loved it. I fell for it.
With you comparing, I was going to say really quick, with you comparing Jin Young to Ji Chang-wook and If You Wish Upon Me, I'm just picturing Jin Young walking down that long staircase with a dying dog in his arms. And it would have been like game over because everyone would have dropped their panties for him.
I know, right? Jin Young could have pulled it off. Because we all thought she would choose Jin Young. Like, it really, that's what everyone thought. It felt like a slam dunk. His tattoos and a motorcycle, freaking special forces, whatever. But Sulki did a change up on us, and she chose the second male lead and got to walk off the island hand in hand. And I screamed when she made her choice. So good for Jongwoo. And I just do want to add, I did see a deleted scene that they didn't show.
Mhm.
And Sulki said her ideal type was Lee Ji-hoon, the uncle from Move to Heaven. And if you look at Jin Young next to Lee Ji-hoon, they look
Oh my God, yes.
incredibly similar. And the mullet Jin Young is sporting now.
Seriously.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah,
But,
Lee
you know,
Ji-hoon-
she chose
Lee Ji-hoon
Jungwoo.
wears it better.
Yeah, she chose Jungwoo, the sweet, sweet barista.
Yeah, I mean, you both have pretty much said it all, but I'll reiterate that I did think that Jin Young was hot, and he played the aloof card so well, but like you said, Leah, like too well, because I think that kind of bit him in the ass in the end, is that he held back his feelings, and Sulki wanted somebody who actually was open to her and how they felt about her. And I did feel bad for Jongwoo, you know, when he kept saying, like, I had my eyes set on one person in the beginning, and I'm just, you know, I'm going to shoot my shot. And his steadfastness, I don't know if that's a word or not, but like, you know, the fact that he didn't give up, it didn't rub me the wrong way, because like you're both saying, there was nothing like toxic about it. He wasn't pressuring her. But it was like, he was just this ball of emotion who was trying to hold it all in. He didn't know what to do with himself. And that wrestling scene, I watched it before both of you did, and I was going out of my mind needing somebody to talk to about it, because I'm like, I cannot believe the end of episode 8.
It's
like,
crazy.
This was bananas, and I was freaking out.
It was funny.
And I mean, he wrestled and fought his heart out, and that fucking got me. And then when they were in paradise, and Sulki seemed like the most comfortable and open that she had been with anyone the entire show, I totally shipped it. And I wanted her to be with somebody where she wasn't afraid to be herself. And that's why I loved her final confessional after we knew that she chose Jongwoo, where she said that she always dates guys that she likes, but this time she wanted to date someone who truly liked her. And that was like so motherfucking badass. And it changed. Not that I had a bad opinion of her, but I think we got to see the best of her there. And again, like I talk about the editing of this, because, you know, they really made it look like in that last episode that she was going to choose Jin Young, because all they showed us is her like private talk with Jin Young, right?
Mm-hmm.
She probably had a talk like that with Jongwoo too, but they didn't show us that. They made it look like she spent her, you know, her last moments with Jin Young, and she told him, you know, she was all shy and like, you know, demure, and I know who I'm going to choose, and it wasn't him. And that was a good twist, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I agree, because she said, you know, he's always approached me, and now I'm saying I want to approach him. I loved everything she said there. I thought it was really smart, and I thought for someone who's 25, I thought that was a really interesting thing.
She's 23.
Or 23.
Isn't she?
No, she's 25.
She's 25.
Oh,
She
she's
might
25?
be. She might be 25 Korean, 24 international.
That's right. It's Zoe and Nadine who are 23.
Yeah, but I thought that was like on an emotional maturity level, I thought that was really amazing. I thought for someone of her age. I agree. I really do.
Yeah, and I think I mean, and it was good editing, honestly, because they really did make you want to think that Jin Young was like going to be her end game. And so, you know, they were going with like a line to give us that twist by the end, like how they were setting it up, and they did a great job. I was completely emotionally manipulated, and I don't care.
Yep, 100%. Especially the order that she like said her last words to each of them. Like she said, you know, Dongwoo, Jongwoo, and then Jin Young. Like you thought that was going to be the choice, and then she like, Jongwoo, will you leave with me?
Yeah.
And I loved when he was talking about his hand being so sweaty, and he's like, "I'm sorry." He's so sweaty. She's like, "I don't care."
I did think too, like she seemed so much more comfortable with him. Like I noticed that too. Like she was like giggly and whatever with Jin Young, and that was like cute and all. But actually, the more I saw how she acted between the two of them, I was like, I'd want to hang with Jongwoo more. Right. Like, because if that's
open herself, not nervous.
No.
It's just, it was mature, and I guess like that's why I was like judging myself, because I'm like, oh my god, here I am at 43 thinking I've learned all these life lessons, and then I'm going for the toxic dude again. I was like, maybe I'm not as wise as I thought I was, because look, you want to go with the guy who's going to treat you like a freaking queen.
Yeah, who was robbed this season, aka who was this season's Anye 1, which if you listen to our first season, Anya Wan was like gorgeous, gorgeous girl, who none of the guys went for. And she was like so funny and charming. And we were like, what the heck?
Well, you kind of just gave it away. Like,
Yeah. I know. Well, we have basically already said, yeah, Park Sejong. Still don't get it. She was ballsy enough to wear cowboy boots on an island in Korea. Like, she just went right out there with her cowboy boots on the beach in the sand. Her clothes were hot. I don't think she had one cardigan. Not a parasol to be seen.
Right, and she had her Hawaiian Tropics oil.
Yeah.
Well, like, to go with that, as far as like what she brought to the island, in my quick like sort of watching of the reunions of them, you know, watching the episodes, Han Bin said that he brought like 5 suitcases.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And because Dongwoo was like, I thought I brought too much bringing 2 suitcases, and then this guy over here, and Han Bin's like, and I didn't get to wear like even half of what I brought. But he's another one who I thought got robbed. Like, he, like you said, Megan, and I agree, I think he was like the heart that like held the show together. He was such a good friend to everybody, you know, who was there, including the women. He was so like not toxic at all. Like, he liked So-eun so much, but he basically told her, look, I'm going to go with my heart and I'm going to stand here with you at the end, but I just want you to be happy, and I will be happy if you're happy. And, you know, she told him that she appreciated him, and he was like, you know, that's enough. That's enough to know that you feel that way about me. And I was like, oh, you sweet little 24-year-old baby man who can cook. Like, come on.
Yeah, and I'm echoing both. They were both robbed. I feel like it's like if you are a chef or you've got a perfect ass, somehow no one likes you.
Yeah, crazy.
It would have been a huge upset if they ended up together. I would have loved that.
But they both deserve better, and that's where I feel like the casting was weird, because I was like, well, what guy there was going to go for Sojung? Like, she was too awesome for the dudes that were there. And then, not like too awesome, but like, you know, she wasn't like, you know, you needed a different type of guy for her. And then for Hanbin, I felt like there needed to be like some girl, like maybe they thought like So-yi, but like there was like no one who was ever going to be like, I want to go for this like cute little dude. Like, So-yi's like the only person I can think of that could have possibly been like in their mind for thinking she would like him.
Well, I remember when Jin Young came and he went back to like the men's dorm area, and they were like, what do you think of the girls? Like, what do you think about Sejong? And he was like, girl crush. And all the guys go, yep, you summed her up. And that was like it. And that's like all they wanted to talk about was Sejong. And I was like, and they almost said it in like, with like a negative connotation. And so I've only heard girl crush in response to like K-pop. So I looked it up, and like the definitions I saw were kind of like a girl crush in Korea kind of means she's like embraces her sexiness, you know, kind of more like female empowerment. And I'm just like, oh, so that's like it just felt like that was like a negative thing.
Yeah.
They can't handle it. And I was like, what? There basically wasn't a man enough there that could be like, yeah, I like this woman who like embraces her sexiness. You know what I mean? Whatever. Poor Sejong. So what cast member gave you the ick? Which we kind of talked about a little bit already.
We did, yeah.
We can move. We don't.
No, I'm happy to talk.
Okay,
about
go ahead.
It a little bit. So I mean, like, look, Min-soo and Dongwoo obviously were like gave me icks, but in the end, honestly, I had to judge Jin Young, because for me, I think that when he stood next to Nadine, he lost it. Like, I was completely done with him. And I've heard some listeners dispute that he ever looked like he was going to choose her. But to my eyes,
thought he was going to.
Yeah, and the host even started to freak out, and even Nadine started to like get excited. And then he's like, "I'll always cheer for you," and like walked away. And I was like, "Oh, fuck you, YouTuber! Like, Nadine, get that Harvard money and live your life."
And again, I was going to say again, I think that's something that could have been scripted too, right? Like, he could have been told by the producers, stand by Nadine for like 15 seconds before you talk to her. You know, like these are the things that we don't know. Like, he did her dirty for sure. Like in the viewers' eyes, he did her dirty. But look at all the drama that moment got. I kind of think it was scripted.
Well, and this is the thing though, because of like how he acted on the show, we did believe that he might possibly choose Nadine, because he wasn't like all in, like we know Jungwoo was never going to do that,
right?
And Sulki knew Jungwoo was never going to do that. So do you know what I'm saying? So like even if it was scripted, it still could have been.
Oh, for sure.
And meaning, I ultimately I think like Sulki's like, look, he's waffling on his feelings. I'm not even gonna go there. I kind of love that she was just like, screw you, buddy.
Yep, he was 100% dicking around with her feelings, because she was like, I have decided. Have you? He's like, I don't know. We'll see how today plays out.
She's like, all right. Okay, I'm sorry. I asked one simple question and it caused all this drama. All I said was there any...
It's not simple, because there is insinuation in that
I
question.
didn't think that there was insinuation. I said, was there any storyline you fast forwarded through because that couple bored you? That's all I said. And I'm getting attacked on Google Docs.
So look, I'm not going to come for Yoongjae and Seon, Megan.
Okay.
I think that they were cute, and I believe they actually fell for each other.
I agree.
100%.
Totally. Yeah.
So is a stockbroker a hot, interesting career? I mean, not.
That's not
totally. Because earlier when he first started, you're like, I don't like him. He's a stockbroker. That's boring. You told me that. But look, can being a stockbroker, if you're successful, buy a lot of paint? Yeah.
It does.
So let my girl paint and be well fed.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope they can finally just bone in peace, honestly, because that's where I felt like if this was America, they would just like shut the door and let them get to it. And in this, the camera just sat there like all night long. And I was like, look, they want to hook up so bad and they can't.
Oh, the cot in her room. I know. Look, and like that's the thing. They had to stay up all night to talk, just to like spend time together. And then I remember like in the little reunion, they're like, "You slept in the same room," and it's like, well, I mean, yeah. God, I don't know. We're so used to American reality dating shows that doesn't even faze us. But no, I know. I just felt like I was listening. This is the thing, is like their conversations were very sweet and all, but I kind of felt like I was just like eavesdropping on someone's date and not in like, it was like, I'm like, just let them, that's the way I was like, just take the cameras out and shut the doors and let them do what they want to do. Like, I don't need to be listening to this, I guess. And I wanted to give them privacy.
We did. Like, that's the whole thing. They had the least screen time. Like, again, editing choice. Like, where's the drama in watching two people meet in the first like day and fall for each other?
I know, that's the thing, because I'm like, where's the tension?
The whole entire time.
They did, I know.
Yeah, there's no tension. They liked each other the whole entire time, and I was rooting for them. Like, I shipped it the whole time. I thought that they had chemistry, and I loved that. And I think that might be, why some people might have found it not as riveting, because there is no drama. They like each other.
Yeah.
That's
all. I found it.
Didn't get to, yeah.
Yeah. I think I was trying, I wanted to get to the end. I wanted to, so I know, but I don't know.
But I did not fast forward.
I did fast forward
because they were barely even on the screen.
I did. I did fast forward.
The one time they have a happy time, Megan's like, yeah, fast forward. But what you fast forwarded through is that she wore his glasses.
Yeah, I did see that.
I loved it.
I didn't. When I say I fast forwarded, I would like stop.
Fast forwarded it?
Well, I would like stop and I would like see what they were doing, and I'm like, oh, they're still just like giggling and stuff, and then I would just keep forwarding. All right, moving on. I'm sorry. Amy, because none of us know what corn coffee is, let us know what you found out, because I think we all kind of want to go and visit Jungwoo at his coffee shop.
Yeah, so Jungwoo's family runs a coffee shop that's called like Sweet Corn Coffee, and apparently it's like a really popular place that you have to like wait in line for. So I was like, what is corn coffee? Like, is that a thing, or is that just like a Korean saying? So I actually Googled it, and there's a couple of different answers. So there is actually coffee made from roasted corn. Like, this is, you can go down like a whole like Amazon rabbit hole. Like, there's all different brands of corn coffee, and it's like made from roasted corn. There is not actually coffee beans in it. But I was reading reviews for like one that I found on Amazon, and people are like, it tastes and smells just like coffee, but it doesn't give you the jitters. Like, there's no caffeine. It's a lot healthier for you. So now I'm like, I think I need to try some corn coffee. But I don't think that's what Jongwoo's family sells, because there's also a sweet corn latte. And according to a Reddit poster that was like in a thread about Singles Inferno and the sweet corn coffee, the sweet corn latte is made with creamed corn, condensed milk, and espresso.
Oh, I don't know.
I do believe that there's some blending going on.
Okay.
So it's
because that sounds like
a latte.
Okay.
No,
that sounds like a terrible text.
So so my first thought is like, this is something that I would never think that I would ever want in my mouth. However, I would totally taste it because I like corn and I like coffee. So like, give me a blended, please, sweet corn latte. So if any of you listening, like, have more information about corn coffee, this was just like my sort of cursory, deep dive on it. But the fact that there's actually like roasted corn brewed coffee that you could have, or this sweet corn latte situation, are both, I'm very curious about both and would like to spend some more time with them. So maybe I'll take corn coffee to paradise.
Yeah, I think that sounds, I mean, if it's blended, obviously, I would totally try it.
I don't want to be chewing
corn in my, it sounds, and I thought it was really cute that he was a barista. I loved it. I loved showing them making his little coffee and his shop, and good
it's
for
a
him.
family business too. It's not I mean, like, it's
the thing.
I think that's shade to anybody who is a barista that it's not a family business, but like, it's
right.
Like there's a lot to what he's doing.
Yeah, because we did look up, I don't know. When I was watching Singles Inferno, as soon as they said that Sulki was like a piano major, I was like, her parents got to be rich. Like, there's no way. There's just no way. And yeah, we looked it up, or no, I saw it on like Soompi. Her family is one of the richest families in South Korea.
Which is why, like, Dongwoo thought he was coming in being like, I'm a doctor, dude. Like, you're going to totally, like, hook up with me for that.
Suki doesn't care.
She was like, yeah, she didn't care. Yeah. She doesn't need the money. But what is funny is that she actually was interested. Because to me, when I found out that Jin Young was a military YouTuber, I was like, like, he's a 10 until that happened. And then I was like, no, not for me. But I thought that, like, she reacted really positively to his cafe. She knew it, and then she knew who he was, like, from like Instagram.
Yeah, she saw him on Instagram.
She's like, I know the cafe, and I've seen you on Instagram, which is so cute.
Yeah.
Well, like, one of the hosts were like, okay, so Suki doesn't drink. She said she doesn't drink alcohol.
Yes.
And she's 25, and that's probably what she does. She probably wants to, like, go have coffee at cute cafes, take pictures on Instagram. Like, that's her interest. Her interest isn't, like, a military YouTuber. Like, it's just, that's, like, a totally different plane. You know what I mean?
And let's just say that Jongwoo, he is he is the dude that's going to take all the pictures and, like, never be tired of it. Like, is that for me? No, not really. But he would be like, I want to hold your purse and take the pictures.
Like, what's wrong with Secretary Kim when he's, like, taking all those pictures of her and he's, like, bending down to, like, get the great shots of her? Like, that's Jungwoo. Like, he would he'll hold your purse. He'll carry all your bags that she buys all her stuff with because she's incredibly
there's nothing
rich.
wrong with being worshipped. And
he would just be happy the whole time. Like, he's never... And the other thing I liked was that, like, she was unsettled around Jin Young, kind of. Like, he threw her off her game. And, like, while she was like, that's, like, hot. And I kind of do, obviously, like, want to, like, fuck this guy. Like, I'm, whatever. But, like, she was in her power with Jungwoo.
Yes.
And I like that, too.
I thought she was,
like,
too.
She was relaxed. And she did. I mean, look, is she going to be the boss? Yeah. And good. Good for her. Be the boss.
When they were feeding each other, like, the food in Paradise, like, he's like, oh, try this. And she's like, oh, try this. I'm like, they're just so comfortable with each other. Like, I thought he was.
And then she's like, I've had enough, okay? And he's like, okay.
But, like, I thought he was going to be super nervous and awkward. And he was great. Like, I thought he was great in Paradise. So.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was going to, again, come on maybe really weird and strong. I mean, I have to be honest. Because at first when she was on that date with Dongwoo, I was like, why is she being so kind of standoffish, but then I got it. He kept going, how do you feel? What are your feelings? Blah, blah, blah.
Like
and
day one.
Yeah, she's like, buddy.
Yeah, let's get in the pool. Let's get in the pool together. And I think she probably wasn't that into him like super big. Like, did she pick him to be on that date?
She did.
Yeah.
But she said in the reunion thing, she's like, I wanted to get to know him, and he wasn't like doing that. Like, he wasn't talking about himself. He just kept saying like, how do you feel about me? And it's like, she's like, well, I don't know. That's why I'm here to like, and she was just like over it, and I don't blame her. Yeah, I liked her.
And then like the drinking, like he's like, you don't drink, like, and then like not like.
I think he was also really drunk on that first date.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was super drunk because he just kept like leaning into her and like asking her feelings, and I think she was super uncomfortable.
Yeah,
she was like fully covered up in like 3 towels, kind of like a robe. Poor Suki.
Not, and like he didn't read the room. Yeah, that's when he was gross to me. But
yeah,
look, I will say though that Jungwoo cries when he comes. Like, no doubt. But respectfully.
Yeah. And then he thanks her profusely.
I was just going to say he cries and thanks her.
Says, oh my God, thank you.
And like,
and then he'll be like, what can I do better next time? Was that good for you?
Interlock fingers. All he is doing is like interlocking fingers with earnest missionary. I think heavy eye contact.
I think Jungwoo would definitely he would go down. Once he learns how.
He'd be like,
he would live there.
I mean, like, he'd be happy to do that date. I mean, like, that's his breakfast.
He would live there. He'd be like, come in my coffee shop, just sit down, and I'll just go under the table.
And cry while I do it. Cry
He's
while
like weeping.
He's using his tears to keep the lube going.
I can't. Oh my God.
But that's where I'm saying, like, you know, because Jin Young, like, I'm like, look, that dude, he was gonna give it, and he was gonna give it well. And I
Jin Young,
like, yeah, she's like gonna be curious enough that she's gonna be like, look, I'm gonna get my world rocked, and then I'm gonna like move on to like my like high end lifestyle. That's what I predicted to happen, and the fact that she went with, yeah, I mean, I'm never not shaken by that.
And Jin Young probably makes like pew pew noises or something.
He's slapping ass. He's doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
He's definitely not grateful for.
No, he does, and he doesn't ask if it was good for her. He doesn't.
Is he
care.
Going down? Probably not.
Probably not.
Jungwoo carried her bag, by the way, when they went to.
Oh my God, that was so funny when he's like, "Do you want me to carry?" She's like,
"No."
Why
like,
did
everyone find it so charming when he wouldn't carry her bag? Because I didn't find that to be.
I thought it was hilarious. I didn't find it. I thought it was very funny because he just doesn't give a shit. This is the thing.
Because she said, "Do you want to carry my bag?" And he's like, "Do you want me to?"
This is the thing to me about Jin Young. He went on there. In my opinion, his agent was like, "You need to go on some sort of show. You need to go on the show, and you need to like, you know, get your follower count up." Like, that's how you're going to make money. And so he's like, all right, cast me on this, like, freaking show. So he goes on, and he's like, all right, I gotta, like, play the game. Like, I gotta get screen time. And he, like, knows he can. Like, he knows he's, like, charming enough. He kind of knows how to, like, be aloof. And he did the job. Like, he did what he signed up to do. But I don't think in any way, I mean, I'm sure he probably likes Suki. Like, sure. But I don't think he, like, in any way was trying to, like, get a girl. I think this was like a business move for him.
Because he didn't want to be, when he was like, Jungwoo defeated me in the pit and in the game, I don't think that was in his bingo card losing in the mud pit. And I don't think it was his bingo card losing.
No. Like, I think he thought he'd win, but I don't think he I don't think he actually like cared about like the like emotions of it. Does that make sense?
No. But I think that he felt like, you know, it wasn't good business for him to walk out having lost to the skinny barista in like the like, you know, he's like,
I love that he did though. I love that he did
right?
The skinny barista.
He lost a skinny the barista. Oh my God. But anyway, I mean, but I thought like I thought Jin Young was like he's a contestant I want on the show. Like, that is the type of contestant I want. Like, someone who's going to kind of be, like, charismatic, charming, who's going to, like, shake up the cast, cause, like, tension and drama. And I thought he was a great contestant. I will check out his channel. Again, I don't think I'm the target market, but I will check it out and see, like, what he's doing with his haircuts and stuff. I'll check in on him. So, why don't we suggest a game for the contestants? Because anything is better than that, like, dugout mud pit of death.
I don't know. That was pretty riveting to watch. But...
It was. It just feels really brutal. Like,
my God,
it was. See all the guys with bandages on afterwards?
I was like, blood was drawn. Like,
I know.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, can we have like some trivia or something that lets them show off their useless knowledge on random subjects?
I love trivia. I love trivia.
What I thought would be kind of fun was, what if they had like a sort of speed dating game where everybody actually gets one-on-one time with every possible partner, but there could be like scripted, like, get out of your comfort zone kind of questions. Like, you've got to answer like one question, then you move on to the next person kind of thing.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Because nobody really got to have, like, the only time you really had like a date was if you went to Paradise. And, Sejong never got to go to Paradise, and we never really got to see her have any good like one-on-ones either. And I think it would be really like force that one-on-one and let them actually, everybody's like, I'm curious about everybody, I want to get to know everybody. Well, like, make that happen.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I'd also like to see like some like, where they have to like get paired with like partners of the opposite sex to do some challenges.
Yeah.
But, okay, can I say one thing? Because I haven't said this one thing, and if we finish the pod and I haven't said it, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Go.
So, Soe.
Mm-hmm.
Little Soe.
Little Soe.
We have not talked about the fact that not only does she like to eat the chicken neck, but she likes to chomp through the bones of it.
Does she say that?
Yeah. So I totally love that. I mean, like, eating chicken neck is like very much like, lots of people eat chicken neck. It was just how she said it when she's like, I like to eat the bones too. And I was like, and who was it? Was it Sejun?
Sejun?
Yeah, Sejun. Was that he the one that liked her?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. And Sejun was hot for Soe. I don't actually believe Soe was really hot for him. I think they left as like friends.
Yeah.
But I think he was into her.
I think she'll let him take her out.
Yeah. But I mean, she wasn't like all into it, whereas I think he was all into her. And when she said that she ate the bones, he was turned on. And I thought that was like an amazing moment. He just had this like boo boo. And I was just like, oh my God. She's like, and she was like all cute, like, I like to eat the bones.
Got her little voice, her like little tinkle voice.
And it was just such like a moment where I was like, that's amazing. And it's amazing that he was like, that shit's hot.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I'm down for the bone chewing.
You want to chew some bones? I got some bones.
I got a bone for you. I've got a bone you can gnaw on.
I don't think any dude wants his bone gnawed on. You're doing it wrong if you're chewing it.
Oh, God. Okay.
Well, yeah, I just had to mention that because I just thought it was cute that he.
What a great note to end on. Good job.
Chewing the bone.
Well, I hope they bring back a season 3, 4. I hope I'm 80 and they're still bringing back Singles Inferno. I love it so much.
As long as we keep the hosts. We need to keep the hosts the same.
Yeah,
if anyone is listening, keep those hosts because they are awesome. They're awesome. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Annyeong.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, Annyeong!